Okay, we are here with Adam Scott, and Adam, season 6 of Parks and Recreation. What was I guess your favourite moment for Ben?
Uh, this season had a lot of great stuff in it. It was really, really fun across the board. But let's see, I feel like I really loved the way the season ended with the uh, flash forward 3 years. I thought that was a really cool way to finish out the season and sort of uh, launch us into the final season, which is going to take place, in 2017, which is really, really cool, or maybe even 2018. Uh, so I thought that was really cool. I also really loved Blue Season 2, where the one Nick Offerman directed, where Ron and Ben sort of go on a walkabout at a winery and get drunk and run into Sam Elliott, and Ben got to find out what his spirit animal was. All that stuff was super fun, and working with Sam Elliott was pretty great.
About the 3-year flash forward, that's like a bit of a risk for a show to like sort of at the end of a season, especially a show that hasn't taken big time jumps before,
Yeah.
to sort of sound with, hey, next season you're going to be 3 years in the future.
Yeah.
How did you, when you first read the script, and what do you think about that as a bit of a risk for the show?
I thought it was really exciting. I mean, I think Mike and all the writers continually find new ways to keep the show fresh. And that was definitely, every season tends to have sort of a theme that it's playing on. We had the election, then the recall, there was a marriage in there, and so there are all these things that kind of throw the show and its fans for a loop, and I think this is a really big one that is, I think, a great way to kind of finish off the show,
Mm. And yeah, it'll be interesting.
I'm a big Battlestar Galactica fan, so it was also cool because they did that. I believe season 3 they did that, and it was just amazing. And I know Mike's a big Battlestar Galactica fan as well, so I think it was a little tip of the hat.
It'll be really interesting to see where everyone's been in the past 3 years.
Yeah.
Because we saw like you and Amy a little bit, but it'll be interesting to see what like businesses Tom's had and what Ron's gotten up to and all sorts of things like that. So I guess I wonder if there's any chance whether in the next season we'll see any flashbacks or anything of the past 3 years, or whether the mockumentary crew just thought, there isn't much good material, let's just skip ahead 3 years.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know that, there's certainly potential for flashbacks, but, I also just like the idea of it just being the same show. It's just 3 years in the future. So we'll see. We'll see what they cook up.
And I guess a big implication for you and Leslie on the show is that you're gonna have kids. Yeah, you're not gonna be raising babies. They're gonna be like 3-year-olds running around. What's that like? And sort of you becoming parents, sort of in the show.
Yeah, I think that skipping over the whole baby thing was really smart, because I feel like we've seen that before, and there's no need to sort of go over that sort of the well-tread sitcom tropes of having a brand new baby, and so we just kind of skipped over all of that and went straight to 3-year-olds, which is maybe not quite as trampled on sort of culturally and sitcom-wise. I mean, we had them there on the set for only about an hour to shoot that scene, so we don't really know the kids that well yet, but they're incredibly cute, and looks like, three little Ben and Leslie. So, I think that'll be really fun to have them around.
Yeah, they're going to be fun. They're going to be fun parents too, I imagine. Leslie and Ben.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We've got a question in our chat room from Ezra, who says, "What's your picks of the names for the Knope Wyatt triplets? If you got to name them, what would you call them?"
Well, that's funny. Gosh, I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe Thomas Jefferson, Hillary Clinton, and it would have to be what's her name? Whoever it was, forget that. Michelle Obama, Thomas Jefferson, Hillary Clinton would have to be it, don't you think?
Yeah. What about Joe Biden?
Yeah, of course, Joe Biden. What am I even thinking about? Has to be Joe Biden.
Oh well, if you're struggling to think of them, I'm sure Leslie will have some ideas. I'm sure you're probably not going to get Ben's probably not going to get much of a say.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess let's talk a bit about some of the other things you got up to this season, and I guess you talk about the walkabout with Ron. I also love the bit where you are almost pitching a business to Tom of the dry cleaners and dry cleaner company middleman, and you've also that was pretty good, and you've also got you and doing stuff with Andy again, like. In some ways, your character gets to do a lot of one-on-ones. Like, you sort of have a lot with Leslie, and then every now and then you branch out and you get to do an episode of Nick Offerman, and you get to do an episode with Aziz Ansari, and you get to do an episode with Chris Pratt. How does that change your sort of... As an actor, how does that change how you're working on the show when you get those scripts and you're like, oh, this is an episode where I get to do a lot of Aziz? Or...
It's great, there's so many, there's 9 of us, and there are so many different pairings that you can do, and everybody's so great that it's just sort of a treat. Like, who am I going to get to hang out with this week? And, the episode Flu Season 2, it was great because, even though we've worked together a lot over the past few years, just there haven't been that many opportunities for Ron and Ben just to have a storyline to themselves. I mean, it's only been like 3-4 times. So it's always great to kind of see who you're going to be paired off with any given week. I feel like I've gotten, good time with everybody. Like Pratt and I have had a bunch of stuff together, and Aubrey and I had some stuff. So they're all so amazing, and we're all good friends and stuff. So it's always great. It's just sort of the gift that keeps on giving. And then there are also those episodes where it's all of us. So those are super fun too. But it's great to just be able to pair off and make your own little show together for 5 days.
Do you like? I think with Ben, and this is my thought, is that like a lot of his sort of comedic gold is almost in reacting to the characters around him. And the sort of like trying to rein people in and almost not being able to all the time.
Yeah.
Is that hard as an actor when it's a lot of it is sort of a reactionary sort of thing? Is sort of more subtleties and things, or?
Yeah, it's really fun actually. It's great. I mean, in a lot of ways, Ben is sort of the straight man of the group, kind of glancing at the camera and, in a way, asking the audience to, sympathize, can you believe that this person is saying this thing? But the great thing about the writing on the show is they also let Ben have his own quirks, and every season I get to have an episode or two where Ben goes off the edge a little bit. This season it was Flu Season 2, where I get drunk and incredibly upset about my parents. I create the game, the Cones of Dunshire, where I go a little crazy and create this insane board game that makes no sense. A few seasons ago, it was Claymation. This season, it was the board game, and so it's a real. I think it's a sign of great writing when even the so-called straight man of the show also has a character that has his own sort of foibles and insanity, and that makes it really fun because I love sort of being the reactionary one, but I also love every once in a while to be incredibly stupid.
Did anyone on the set ever try to figure out the game the Cones of Dunshire? Did anyone try to like?
I tried to figure it out the second time we shot it when we did the finale, and like Blake Anderson from Workaholics was there, and I actually sat down and tried to make sense of it, and I just couldn't. I don't think it makes sense. But I think at some point they may want to make it a real game, so they'll have to. If they do that, they'll have to make sense of it. But it's so complicated and weird. There's absolutely no making sense of it.
Yeah, I was struggling watching the show.
Yeah.
And I played a few board games in my day, and I was
me
really.
Too. And this one, what's that board game that we actually played on the show? The one that's incredibly fun. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Settlers of Catan.
Yes, Settlers of Catan. Yeah. Which I've played and it's a great game. But this is like that on cocaine. Like it's just huge and makes no sense.
Yeah. The so with your what about your progression on the show? Because you started as someone who just sort of came in at the end of season 2, and you sort of have risen the ranks and sort of like just become such an integral part of the show that you're sort of the male lead on Parks at the moment. So, like, how has that been, and like, how you sort of feel like your progression over the years?
It's great. I mean, I don't think I'm the male lead. It's definitely an ensemble show. I think we were just sort of trying to spread out because you have to be submitted in one of the categories, and we didn't want everyone to be submitted in the supporting actor. We wanted it to be sort of spread out. But it's also just by virtue of me being married to Amy's character, so I'm sort of with her a lot of the time. I mean, I feel like from the time that Rob and I started the show, we were both welcomed with open arms, and so there was never really any time when we didn't feel an integral part of the show. It was very welcoming and lovely from the start. I mean, from the beginning, I couldn't believe I was actually getting a job on this great show that I was a huge fan of. So, and it really still feels that way. I still feel just so excited to go to work, and just still a little flabbergasted that I'm on this awesome show. So the progression of, the progression from being new to sort of just being one of the cast has been really a really lovely progression, and I do feel very comfortable and at home there now, which is the one thing that has changed. Is I'm not quite as freaked out to be there anymore. But everyone there, from Amy to the PAs, are made to feel as an integral part of the show. It's a really lovely atmosphere. Did
you ever think when you first got the call, or you first got the role for Parks and Recreation, that you would end up being Mr. Leslie Knope?
No, I had absolutely no idea, and it would have blown my mind if someone told me that was going to happen. It's crazy. but yeah, I'm really happy it worked out that way. I think that, you know, when the turn happened, when Ben and Leslie started sort of dating, it seemed really right to us, and I know that Amy and I were always really rooting for them to make it. So I'm happy because I love working with Amy, but also happy because I love those characters.
Yeah, like it's almost like it's almost like funny thing about it that way, like almost like it's always a real relationship. We're like, oh, this is going so well. There seems to be like some chemistry here in the performances. I like where this is going. Hopefully, it works out.
Yeah, yeah. It's exactly like a real relationship. Yeah, I still root for them. I mean, I doubt season 7 will be the divorce season, but you never know. It could be a really, really dark, lonesome, sad season, and Leslie and Ben get divorced. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, they're going to go for a sort of like let's end Parks and Rec on a sort of like low, like a sort of dark note, a sort of like yeah.
Leslie and Ben get divorced and then have a suicide pact, and that's how it ends.
Yeah. How macabre, like ending. They go, yeah.
Yeah, bad idea, but you never know.
Yeah. You know, who knows? The writers are due a misstep.
Exactly.
What is the final season of Parks? How do you feel about it all wrapping up? And sort of, do you have any expectations for how they're going to do so?
I have no idea. No idea what they have in mind. But you know, I think they're just figuring it out now. But no clue and no expectations because they always come up with the best way to go anyway. So, you know, it's nice to be surprised when we get to work and start hearing about how stuff is going to unfold.
Yeah. Do we and do are you sorry? How do you feel about it all coming to an end? Do you feel like it's time or?
It's bittersweet just because, you know, it's the best job I've ever had, and so I'm sad about it coming to an end. But at the same time, I feel like, you know, it's time, and it's great to go out while the show's still at a peak and the show is still relevant and all of that stuff, rather than sort of petering out. I feel like, you know, all you have to do is look at that finale we just had, and you can see that the show is still as wonderful as ever. And you know, to come back for a final season now, I think is a really, really, it's really smart. And we're all gonna miss it, and we're all gonna miss each other. But you know, it's time. I think it's, if you feel like it's a little soon, that's probably the perfect time to do it, rather than waiting until everyone just can't wait to get out of there. I think it's good to not overstay your welcome.
And that was a question from a Parks and Rec fan in our chat room.
Yeah.
What do you think with the because Leslie and Ben are a great couple, and but we see a lot of couples on sitcoms and TVs over the years. What do you think makes Leslie and Ben different to all the other ones that we've seen on TV?
Boy, I mean, I think that they just fit together perfectly. I mean, in a lot of ways they're opposites, and in a lot of ways you wouldn't expect them to get together, especially because at first they butted heads so much. So I think that I think that also, once they got married and once they got together, the relationship didn't cease to be fun to watch. I think that Mike and the writers have been really smart in throwing new obstacles in their path to make the relationship and the two characters still really vital and fun to watch. And the will they or won't they wasn't the most interesting thing about the characters and the relationship. So we never had to overcome what do we do now. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't. We didn't have the moonlighting problem, which was now that they're together, there's no reason to have them in a scene together anymore. It was never even part of the equation in the first place, and they smartly didn't write themselves into that corner.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. We've got two more questions. One's from Ezra May, which says, is a Party Down movie ever going to happen? Or, like, I guess we're just in this age at the moment of all these old shows sort of making comebacks in different ways. Yeah.
I really don't know. I kind of feel like making movies out of TV shows is a little tough, especially a half-hour comedy. And I feel like Party Down worked perfectly in the format it was in, which was one party per episode. It was a perfect idea that the guys had, and putting that into a 3-act movie structure, I think, could be tricky. But I think doing some more episodes at some point is definitely an option. As far as a movie goes, I'm not really sure, but I think everyone would be excited about doing some more episodes somewhere at some point.
A guest just asked, what's your favorite show besides Parks, and maybe also besides Battlestar Galactica?
The season so far of Louis has been amazing. I really love Fargo. It's terrific. Mad Men, of course. I'm a big Survivor fan.
Yeah.
Are you a Survivor fan?
Yeah, I'm a pretty big Survivor fan.
Yeah, me too. And this season's been amazing, right?
They've had 4 good seasons in a row. They're really at a creative peak.
Totally. And The Good Wife is great. I'm a big. I love. The Review, the new Comedy Central show Review, is great. As is Comedy Bang Bang and Nathan For You. Those are great shows. Broad City is great. It's a lot of great TV these days.
I'm chatting with the girls from Broad City, I think, next week.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
they're terrific.
In a week or two, I'm also chatting with your buddy Nick Offerman. Do you have any questions that we should ask Nick?
Yeah, what's his problem?
Okay.
Tell him anytime, anywhere, I'm ready to fight.
Oh, okay. The gauntlet is down.
Yeah, it's time.
Okay, I'll let him know.
Okay.
I'll telegraph that. So, thanks so much for talking with us, Adam. All the best with Parks and Recreation's final season, with the Emmy Awards this year in lead actor, and just other things you've got going on.
Yeah, we also have a show in the short form category called The Greatest Event in Television History. That's where we recreated opening credit sequences from 80s TV shows. I believe they were 15 minutes long, or maybe even less, on Adult Swim. That believe it's isn't there a category for short shows, like short form shows or something? You would know better than I do.
Yeah, no, there's categories like that. There are the creative arts ceremonies, and there's definitely one for online programming, and one I think for short form programming on television as well. So yeah, definitely.
Got it.
So yeah, if you're eligible and competing in that category, then all the best of luck for that one too, and people should check that out because it's only 15 minutes, then not too much of a commitment.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
And it is good that we've now got a lot more platforms and mediums to do the experiment with stuff like that in short form,
yeah,
storytelling and things.
Yeah, it's great to have, a place like Adult Swim, which is the network we made them for. It's great to have a place where you can make something that wouldn't necessarily sustain a full 22, 23-minute format. It's more of that fits in a little better in like 9 to 16 minutes. It's great to have a place like Adult Swim or online where you can do something like that, and it sort of lives a bit better than it would have if you had to stretch it out to a longer format. And that audiences are interested in stuff like that, kind of bite-sized stuff. It's really, really fun to make stuff like that and to see it sort of live online.
Yeah, no, definitely. So thanks so much, Adam, for your time and for talking parks with us.
Thank you.